been Mrs. Claus both previous years and was looking forward to a repeat performance. After all, she was Mrs. Holiday Happiness. She didn't go right into her shop. Instead, she walked next door to Handy's Hardware, which would be the perfect place to get an apology prezi for Viola. With all the work she and her policeman husband, Terrell, were doing on their house, the hardware store had become their home away from home. Terrell happened to be cruising by in his patrol car. He stopped and let down his window and called, "How'd it go? Am I still Mr. Doo-Doo?" Frankie snickered. "Maybe. She wound up calling me to help her finish." "Did you?" "Sort of, but not really. I'm on pizza patrol." "All the works?" he asked. "Of course," she replied. "If you're lucky, we'll save you some." He gave her a thumbs up and cruised on down the street. Pizza would go a long way toward making up for the wallpaper mess she left her friend with. Hopefully, a Handy's Hardware gift card would do the rest. The hardware store was ready for Christmas. Someone had made fresh popcorn in the circus popcorn cart, and the aroma made her mouth water. No popcorn for her today, though. She was on a mission. She moved past the display of artificial trees and the shelves of Christmas lights and garlands and went straight to the checkout, where she selected a card with a hammer on it and Handy Holidays written above it in red. She spotted her pal Mitch Howard in the paint section and after purchasing the card, went over to say a quick hi. A hefty 50-something man in Carhartts ogled her as she walked past. She wasn't dressed to inspire ogles in her jeans and boots and the old Letterman jacket that had belonged to her husband, Ike, but she was still good-looking enough to attract attention, and she appreciated an occasional ogle, as long as it didn't turn into a leer. 50 had been a hard birthday. Even though she was fit and her hair was still a rich auburn thanks to her hairdresser, she felt the passing of time like an insult with those tiny wrinkles digging into her face and the gray hairs that were constantly multiplying and kept her going to the salon. When it came to aging, Mother Nature was not very nice to her daughters. But oh well, what did it matter, really? Frankie wasn't in the market for anyone to replace Ike. He was irreplaceable, and it had broken her heart and shredded her world when she lost him 4 years earlier. The kid who'd taken him out had been texting and driving and had felt terrible. But feeling terrible after you've killed someone wasn't enough to bring the person back. The community had come alongside her, offering sympathy, hugs, meals, and cards, and her family and friends had checked in on her often. She'd felt their love, but nothing could replace the love she'd lost. She soldiered on, keeping the shop going, keeping her life going, reminding herself to be thankful for the people she still had left, her mother, her sister, her daughter Natalie, and Natalie's little family. And Mitch Howard, who owned Handy's. He had been there for her both when she first started her business, and again during that awful time after Ike died. "You've got this," he'd said 7 years earlier, after she'd signed the lease for her shop, and then instantly experienced a confidence crisis. He'd said it again when he stopped by Holiday Happiness a month after Ike's memorial, and she'd confessed that she didn't think she could go on. "Yes, you can," he'd assured her. "You're a strong woman." He kept stopping in, often with a latte from the coffee stop just a couple doors down from their businesses. Next thing she knew, she was returning the favor. It was only natural they would become close. They already were friends. She and Ike had known Mitch before she'd opened her shop and become business neighbors with him. Of course, everyone with the house knew Mitch. He'd taken over the hardware store after his father retired and his parents moved to Arizona. Mitch himself had moved away for a while, but he had returned and settled right back in, working again in the same store that had employed him as a teenager. Eventually, he'd become the owner. He was Frankie's favorite pal, always up for helping her test out a new cop show or watching a Seahawks game together. Like her, he was single. Unlike her, he was divorced with an ex-wife who was ancient history. He was a great guy, fun-loving and kind and easygoing, and handsome. Slim but broad-shouldered, with a perfect square jaw and dark hair turning to salt and pepper at the temples. Then there was that lopsided smile that her mother once said made her think of Harrison Ford. When he was young. Oh, baby.